Sir, you're using language at these meetings such as phasing down. I'm just wondering if you can distinguish, is there a difference between phasing down fossil fuels and phasing out fossil fuels?
I think if I've said phasing down, this language has been used, for example, in Glasgow and Sharm el Sheikh. So phasing down is a reduction, but not an elimination. But in terms of in the case of coal, we've already legislated the elimination of coal-fired electricity by 2030 in Canada. I'm confident we will get there even before 2030. But for fossil fuels, our commitment, the G7 commitment, is to phase out unabated fossil fuels. It's not to phase them down. And what I said is that I'm hopeful that this time, for the first time ever at a conference of parties, we will collectively be able to agree on, it may not be the same language, but similar language regarding the phasing out of unabated fossil fuels.
Back home for a second, we're seeing wildfires out west, tornadoes in Ottawa and Montreal. Do you have a message for people back home? And do you have a message that connects to the work that you're doing in Belgium on the international stage to fight climate change?
Yes, well, at the end of June, Canada presented with provinces, territories, Indigenous peoples, municipalities, expert civil society, the first ever national adaptation strategy. Because we know we need to help Canadians be better prepared to face the impacts of climate change. And if there was ever a time to be talking about being better prepared, it's probably the summer or the last few months where we've seen ice storms, we've seen floodings. Just at the end of last year, record level hurricane on our Atlantic coast. We're seeing record level forest fires this summer. So we need to be better prepared to face the impacts of climate change, and that's exactly what the federal government has been leading the charge with our colleagues, and the national adaptation strategy is the result of 2.5 years of hard work with these partners. Largest ever public consultation in terms of the number of participants, and more than 32,000 people who participated in the consultation for the national adaptation strategy. But the second thing is, there's no one country in the world, no matter how large, how economically powerful they might be, that can solve climate change by themselves. We need to collectively work together. It's the only way we will solve climate change. So these meetings, like the one we just finished here in Belgium, and this international cooperation is essential. That's the only way we can solve climate change. And over the last few years, Canada has become a champion of international cooperation on climate change. And fighting the other international nature crises, such as biodiversity or plastic pollution. And that's reflected by the fact that for a third year in a row now, we've been asked by different COP presidency to play a role on international climate finance. First, it was the United Kingdom, then Egypt, and now the UAE. It's reflected by the fact that the United Nations asked us to host COP15 when no one else could do it. And we, with working closely with our international partners and China, helped the world agree to an historic new international framework to protect nature and enhance biodiversity. So Canada we're happy to play this role, but it's essential that we play this role, working with others to find global solutions to fight climate change.